Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Meet Your Category Manager webinar this morning with Sebastian Del Rosso. We are going to be taking a deep dive into the planning and open spaces local buy pre-qualified supplier arrangements this morning. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Emma Peters. I am the Head of Engagement for Local Buy. Also featured on this slide are the other members of our engagement team, Liz McFarlane, Audrey Dobell and Jeremy Walker. Between the four of us, we look after, in terms of account managing, 77 councils in Queensland and 17 in the Northern Territory. I would also like to introduce my co-host today, Sebastian Del Rosso. Sebastian is a local buy category manager, and he is going to be taking us through some deeper information about his particular local buy arrangements this morning. Now, a little bit of housekeeping, which I traditionally forget to do. But if you do have any questions and answers, because we have so many people attending our webinar this morning, we have cameras and microphones off. But if you do have questions, please don't hesitate to pop them in the Q&A on your top toolbar of Teams. We will keep an eye on them throughout the webinar and answer your questions live at the end of the slides. So, without further ado, let's have a little dive into who Local Buy is and the benefits of you being a Local Buy supplier. Local Buy is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Local Government Association of Queensland, also known as the LGAQ. We do love an acronym in the local government industry. We were created in 2001 to assist councils streamline procurement. So that means we are turning 25 years old next year. That's an amazing legacy within local government. We are a profit for purpose organisation. Any profit we make over and above our operating costs is returned to our owner, the LGAQ, who use those funds to provide awesome member services to Queensland councils. And we also work very closely with the Local Government Association of the Northern Territory and Tasmania to provide procurement solutions to councils in both of those states. Now, why do councils need help with procurement? If you're a council officer, and you're going out to buy goods and services on behalf of your council, you can't just go and do it. You have to abide by some rules and regulations that are set down in the Queensland Default Procurement Rules in the Local Government Regulation 2012. They say that if a council is going out for procurement activity between $15,000 and $200,000, they must obtain 3 written quotes. If the procurement activity is larger than $200,000 or expected to be larger than $200,000, the council must perform a full and open market tender. Now, please be mindful that these thresholds are accumulative for the life of a contract or a financial year for similar goods or services with a supplier. So councils are unable to order split and chop the procurement activities up into smaller pieces because those thresholds are accumulative. Let's take a very quick look for any of our Northern Territory suppliers that we have joining us this morning. At your Northern Territory thresholds, they are slightly lower than those here in Queensland, with the tendering kicking in at $150,000 rather than the $200,000 here in Queensland. Now, another piece of legislation that council officers need to take into consideration when buying goods and services on behalf of their council is set down in the Local Government Act, and it is the 5 sound contracting principles, one of which, of course, is value for money, an open, effective competition, and the development of competitive local business. Where does local buy come into all of this? Well, local buy has an an exception here in Queensland under Section 234 of the Local Government Regulation, which says that councils and government authorities can purchase goods and services from local buy pre-qualified suppliers with no tender threshold. So essentially, councils, when they engage through local buy, do not need to perform quotes or tenders regardless of the size of that procurement activity. In the Northern Territory, it's called an exemption, but offers the same exemption to not having to do tenders, which is of great benefit not only for councils, but also for suppliers. Now, local buy was originally set up to assist Queensland local government streamline procurement, but because we have 52 excellent pre-qualified supplier arrangements, other entities have jumped on board and started to utilise local buy as well. So not just those local government entities, but Queensland state and federal government departments, government-owned corporations, water authorities, ports, charities, not-for-profits, and lots of schools and universities also utilise local buy to procure. Now, the benefits of being a local buy pre-qualified supplier for you as a supplier is that it gives you access to a large local government market and those other buyers that I just spoke about. It reduces your cost of tendering. Councils are able to engage you without doing really arduous tenders. It means you're more likely to win the work faster, and it's a pathway, of course, to repeat business with our local buy customers. Couple of groovy statistics here for you. In financial year FY24 to 25, over $1 billion was procured through local buy's 52 pre-qualified supplier arrangements. 61% of all of our requests for quote or business go through the vendor panel system, and we're going to talk about vendor panel in just one moment, and we have 4,413 pre-qualified suppliers. Without further ado, I am going to pass across to Seb, who needs to unmute his microphone, and he's going to take control of the slides, and he's going to give a little introduction into Seb's background before he kicks off into talking about his particular arrangements.
Thanks, everyone. It's great that you've all had some time to share with us today. A brief background on myself. So I've got some design, engineering, and project management experience. I've worked for Moreton Bay for 7 years in their design and project management teams. And then from there, the last 9 years, I've been working for various private companies in a project management type role for design and construct type work. So the categories that I'm looking after and we're discussing today, planning and asset management, open spaces, parks and landscaping, waste management, hardware, construction and materials, and veterinary services all fall under the planning, waste and open spaces arrangements. The role of the category manager. So just to be as simple as possible, the way that I see it, I look after suppliers and buyers to make sure that they can, one, find each other to get a result for council and provide services that council is looking for. I also collaborate with our internal engagement team to do things like this webinar and talking to council and suppliers at different events. We manage the quarterly tender that goes out for the different arrangements. It's an intense process that takes about 3 months to complete. Also, we give feedback to suppliers and also look after any contractual or dispute type issues that come up, monitoring performance and looking after the arrangement of like the portfolio that I look after, and also updating pricing and any rate cards that come with that. So the first category that we want to quickly, the categories that we're talking about today, planning, surveying and design, asset management services, which this LB347 is the new number. It's currently just been tendered for, and it will go out again in November. It will be replacing LB280, which will run until early next year before it comes to a close. Sport and recreation facilities and equipment, public facilities, parks and amenities, and landscape gardening and arboriculture services. So planning, surveying and design, this arrangement is available in Queensland and Northern Territory. It is a list of pre-qualified suppliers. All councils can use it, and state government is now starting to dip into this type of arrangement a lot. It commenced in November 2023. It has 2 3-year extensions, which can take it out to 2032. Currently, there are 468 suppliers on this arrangement. So it's broken up into 3 different subcategories: planning services, surveying and modelling, design and consultancy, architectural services. So this one has a variety of professional suppliers on it, everything to do with planning and design, and also the surveying. It's well used, and we'll have a look at the actual spend on the next slide. So for the last 2 years, in financial year 2024, 11.2 million was spent on this arrangement, and financial year 25 was 27.3 million. And the graph here, it sort of gives a bit of a breakdown on the different buyers that are using it. So Queensland councils are the main buyers that are using it, state government, and then also the non-government users like the non-profits and water authority type buyers. 91 buyers in total, and yeah, approximately 30% of the suppliers on the arrangement are getting some sort of work through this. So asset management, as I sort of spoke to earlier, LB347 is the new asset management arrangement. It's replacing LB280. So the new arrangement will start this year, the start of November. And again, it also has a 3-year term with 2 3-year extensions. So it could run all the way out to 2034. This arrangement is available Queensland, Northern Territory and Tasmania. This arrangement covers all types of asset management, so value and financial, strategic, tactical, operational, and also digital services, where drone and other type services are included in that. So the spend, looking at the old arrangement for the last 3 years, in 2023, 8.1 million, 7.4 million in 24, and 9.5 in 25. Again, Queensland councils are the majority user out of the total of 87 buyers that are using it, and state government is coming second there. So sport and recreation, LB 303, has 209 suppliers. It started in 2021. Again, 3 years with 2 lots of 2-year extensions, and we're looking at it expiring in 2030. So this arrangement covers a variety of services relating to sport. So the main category is this first one, sport, play and recreation facilities. The types of things that you'll see in that, tennis courts, basketball courts, cricket nets, pitches, BMX tracks, skate parks and playground sort of equipment. And then category 2 is all the synthetic ground covering. So anything to do with sport again, the synthetic grass, softball for playgrounds, and anti-slip treatments on various types of courts. Lighting, all the sporting lighting that you would see, and the consultancy element covers the design element that you would need if a council is engaging someone to do a design and construct style project. Performance on sport and rec. So in financial year 23, 9.6 million, 5.7 million in 24, and 9.6 in 25. We did notice for financial year 24, having state elections and council elections, that sort of impacted spend across the board in financial year 24. So we'll see what financial year 26 brings. But again, there's 32 buyers that are utilising the arrangement, and about 17% of suppliers are getting work through this arrangement. LB 304, which is public facilities, parks and amenities. This one also sort of goes hand in hand with the sport and rec. Councils use them in conjunction with each other, and they do sort of share some suppliers across those two arrangements. So this one again was created in 2021, 3-year contract with 2 extensions of 3 years. So 2030 is sort of when we're expecting that one to expire. So public area facilities, park and amenities is the main category, and the types of things that you would see in that are the construction of new or upgrades to parks and public spaces, bollards, bins, artwork, seating and tables, shelters and shade structures, bus stops, public restrooms, fencing that is temporary or permanent, pedestrian bridges, and barbecues and outdoor sort of kitchen. The lighting category is also there, similar to the sport and rec one. Again, all lighting that's covered in the public areas and facilities. And signage and flags, that one sort of is what it says it is. Anything to do with signage or flags, that is covered under that category. And then the consultancy, again, is for any council that's looking for a design and construct element. They would look at category 1 and 4 to be able to get something designed and construct through this arrangement. They can also add the lighting in as well, if that's required, and go from there. So the spend on this one in 2023 was 20.3 million. In 24 was 13.9 million, and then in 25 was 21.6 million. So this one does get a lot of use. 47 buyers that access this arrangement, and that was just from 25. And again, 17% of suppliers are getting work through this arrangement. So the landscape gardening and arboriculture services. This arrangement has 260 suppliers on it currently, and it started in November 2021. It's a 3-year contract with 2 3-year extensions, and we're looking at expiring in 2030. So the types of services that are covered under this landscape arrangement are more on the maintenance style side of work, but it can be design and construct projects relating to like large sporting field turfing projects, that sort of thing. So in category 1, landscape gardening products, we're looking at fertilizing, mulch, organic materials, plants, turf, soil, irrigation and watering equipment, and then also pest and weed control. In category 2, it's essentially the installation or the provision to provide the services that the products are bought through. So all the turfing installation would come through category 2, and also the tree lopping and arboriculture is covered under category 2. Any damage for like cleanup of storm damage is covered under this arrangement as well. Spend on this arrangement. So in 23 we had 8.4 million, and 24 we had 5.6 million, and 25 we had 3.7. 23 buyers that are utilising this arrangement, and they're all Queensland councils. Approximately 14% of the suppliers are getting work. And lastly, we have a new category of waste management and resource recovery. This will, it has just kicked off in August, and we have a lot of new suppliers slowly being added. If anybody is aware of any suppliers that would look to benefit from being on this arrangement, please put them in touch with me, and I can give some further detail. But really, this arrangement covers everything to do with waste, the collection and disposal and processing of it within the various different waste categories, and also the management of landfill sites that council may own. I'll hand back to Emma.
Thank you very much, Sebastian, for going through in such detail your arrangements, including how many buyers and the spend that's been going through those arrangements over the last few years. So thank you very much. For anybody that came in and joined a little bit later than our kickoff time, which there were a few because I've been admitting you in from the lobby. If you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A portal, which is at the top of your Teams toolbar. We will be doing a live Q&A with Seb at the end of our webinar. Also, because this question always comes up, we will be providing you a copy of the slides and also the recording of this webinar also. So let's talk a little bit about supplier engagement, and I am going to cover this vendor panel in another slide. But you can be engaged by a number of ways. Old school, by councils or other local buy buyers emailing you for requests for quote. You can also be engaged for requests for quote through the vendor panel procurement system. Now, if they are engaging you, our buyers outside of vendor panel, they will be referring to the local buy pre-qualified supplier arrangement number on the paperwork and on the purchase order. So please do make sure you're looking out for that local buy arrangement number when you're being engaged by councils. I'm going to talk about the Purchaser conditions of contract, which are the terms and conditions that our buyers can utilise when they're engaging you through a local buy pre-qualified supplier arrangement. Now, they don't have to use our terms and conditions if they don't want to. If council want to use their own, they will let you know throughout the procurement process. If it's not referred to anywhere, then the default purchaser conditions, which you have available to you, that councils may utilise those to engage you when using a local buy arrangement. Talk a little bit more about vendor panel. So if it's coming through vendor panel, it will clearly say which arrangement the council are coming out to you for a request for quote for. So there'll be no queries about whether you're being engaged via local buy or not. But just bear in mind, please be very, very careful to make sure you're confirming if it's not clear to you if council are engaging you through an arrangement or not. Feel free to reach out to them to make sure it is clarified. Now let's talk a bit more about your information in vendor panel. So vendor panel is described by one of my colleagues is like your shop window to our buyers. So it's really important to make sure that your information is updated in the system. Make sure you have your company logo and that you've added colleagues to the system. So when we say colleagues, that's vendor panel speak for people that you work with that may also be responding to requests for quote. We really recommend that you have more than one person receiving those requests for quote. Imagine if there was only one person and that person was on holiday for 2 weeks. Council sends out a business opportunity, a request for quote, and it's completely missed by your organisation because no one was there to read the request for quote. So add in your colleagues to the system. That can only be done by your primary administrator in the vendor panel system. Make sure your business profile is up to date. It's a free text box. You can put lots of great information about your organisation within that as your profile. And of course, your compliance documentation. So your insurances need to be kept up to date within vendor panel. Now, this is a bone of contention of mine about suppliers reading and responding to requests for quote. So each one of those requests for quote is a potential business opportunity for your organisation. Please do pop into vendor panel on a regular basis to check your request for quote. In fact, when a new request for quote comes to your organisation from a local buy customer, you will receive an email. Now, that email will come from an email address that quite often may land into your junk folder because the email address is noreply@vendorpanel.com.au. So make sure that that is added as a safe recipient in your Outlook. So please do log in on a regular basis and have a look at those requests for quote. There is an opportunity for you within vendor panel for you to indicate to the council if you intend to respond to the quote or if you're declining to respond to the quote. And it's really helpful for councils or for our buyers to be able to see if you're intending to respond or if you're too busy and you can't respond to that particular request for quote. You can, of course, ask council questions through the vendor panel system as well. And please feel free to do that if you require additional clarification on any of the requests for quote. Little brief talk about monthly reporting. Reporting is due to be reported to us on the 21st or before the 21st of each month. Now, you must report any revenue generated through local buy in that month, excluding GST. If you have not had any work through local buy in that month, you are required to submit a nil return for that particular month. It's really quick and simple to do. The new reporting portal is very, very easy to navigate. If you are submitting a nil return, you just press nil next to your relevant local buy pre-qualified supplier arrangement, and then press submit and you are done. Should take about 10 seconds to do. If you are submitting spend, of course, you will need to put the revenue generated against each one of our local buy customers and submit before the 21st of the month. It is very much appreciated that you perform your reporting in a timely manner. Let's have a chat about marketing. How can you maximize the opportunity of being a local buy pre-qualified supplier? Well, we do lots of marketing on your behalf, but we have 4,400 suppliers and we are supplier agnostic. We cannot promote any one supplier over another. However, we do recommend that you tell our customers that you're a local buy pre-qualified supplier. So we're going to talk a bit about marketing and what you can do before we talk about what we do on your behalf. So follow councils on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't know if councils are using TikTok. I'm old, I don't, but certainly follow them on social media so you can see what interesting projects may be coming up within the councils that you wish to work in. Review the council minutes. Now, council minutes are an absolute goldmine of information. They're freely available publicly on each council's website, and it often talks about projects that are coming up that you might like to consider working on. Keep your vendor panel profile up to date. Develop and build those relationships with your customers. You can attend industry events. There are lots of different conferences that take place for local government. For example, the Institute of Public Works Engineers Conference is coming up in Brisbane. We will be attending, and lots of council officers who work in that infrastructure and outdoor spaces areas of council will be attending that particular event. Get involved in your local community and don't just think about the council where your business is located. You can do business depending on what services or products you offer with any of the councils and other entities that utilise local buy. So do have a think outside of just your own local government area. Now, what do we do to promote the use of local buy? Well, we have a team of 4 engagement managers who account manage or look after the councils here in Queensland and in the Northern Territory. We have some fantastic social media. We love a bit of LinkedIn. So add us on LinkedIn. Sebastian and I love to have lots of activity going on LinkedIn. So please do connect with us. We would love to be LinkedIn connected with you. We have a local buy newsletter which goes out once a month to thousands of council officers and to our valued local buy pre-qualified suppliers. Last count, it goes out to over 20,000 different contacts where we promote the use of local buy, of course. We regularly communicate with council staff in terms of going out and talking about the benefits of local buy to our customers on a face-to-face basis. We run lots of educational webinars and tutorials, not just for our buyers, our customers, but also for local buy suppliers as well. We have a local buy conference once every 2 years, and throughout the year, some face-to-face summits where we get to talk to our councils on a face-to-face basis. And of course, back to my wonderful engagement team who are out there talking to councils on a daily basis. So a couple of checklists and things that you need to do before we dive into the Q&A. Now, no one has had any questions so far, which is unusual. So start getting those fingers working. The Q&A portal is on the top Teams toolbar. So things to do after this webinar, after you've added Seb and I and local buy, follow local buy on LinkedIn, is check that your vendor panel business profile is up to date. It's got all the information about what you do. Please don't just put a couple of lines, provide play equipment. You can be way more expansive than that. Add the local buy logo to your requests for quote, your email signature. There's nothing more I enjoy than getting an email from a supplier and the Local Buy logo is down the bottom. It really does give you a competitive advantage. It shows that you are a Local Buy pre-qualified supplier. Create an internal system to track that Local Buy spend so you are able to do your reporting in a timely manner on the 21st or before the 21st of every month. And of course, read and understand the Local Buy Code of Conduct, which is available on the Local Buy website. You can also reach out to us. We are here to help. As Seb said, he is a conduit between his suppliers that sit on his pre-qualified supplier arrangements, his portfolio that he looks after, and the customers that are utilising Local Buy to procure. So please feel free to reach out to us. We are a very friendly bunch, I promise you. So things to remember before we dive into Q&A. If it's not clear, please don't hesitate to ask the buyer if the engagement is through a Local Buy arrangement. Promote the fact that you're a Local Buy pre-qualified supplier. Notify us if your business changes details in any way. Your trading name or your ABN is changing. We do need to know about that as soon as possible. Keep an eye out for the Local Buy newsletter, and we do have a section within the newsletter called My Local Buy Story. We are happy to feature suppliers who are doing business through Local Buy in our newsletter. It's free of charge. More than happy to hear your story and promote that to our customers, and create a bit of a marketing plan of how your business is going to maximize being a Local Buy supplier. We have an events calendar on our Local Buy website. You can have a look there by going either just onto the Local Buy website, which is www.localbuy.net.au, and clicking on the events and training section to see what we've got going on, and also where our staff are going to be. We also promote on the website other events that we are attending to promote Local Buy. We are going to move into Q&A next, but before we do that, I'm going to put this slide up. Now, we love to have feedback from our buyers and our suppliers because we want to know how we can do better. So there is a little survey. It's not too long and arduous through SurveyMonkey. You can scan your little QR code there on your phone and give us some feedback. Did we go too fast? Was there too much information included? Is there anything else you would like to know about Local Buy and how you can maximize being a Local Buy supplier? So I'm going to leave that slide right there while we dive into Q&A, because I can see that there is a question in here. Okay, Seb, are you ready?
Go for it.
Okay.
And
are
just
you...
one note before we start talking about questions. I will be at the IPWAQ conference end of next week. So if anyone's going, I'll be there Thursday, Friday. We can catch up.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the whole beauty of going along to those conferences is we often catch up with suppliers as well as buyers whilst we are there. Thanks, Seb. Okay. This is a specific question. Are you able to elaborate on the typical land use planning projects that come through the planning, surveying, design and architecture arrangement?
So it varies. Lots of different councils will do things differently when it comes to planning and land use. Ideally, what you want to do is be qualified for as many categories that you can sort of tick yourself off for in that planning arrangement, so that you're open to anything that the council will put out. With that arrangement, there are a lot of subcategories that cover a variety of different planning services, and you want to make sure that you fall within the right subcategory. And really, we're not in control of what the council is requesting. We're just giving the council an avenue to look for someone to provide that service for them.
I think that's probably a good thing to note also and to talk about, Seb, is that we don't get involved transactionally with what councils are doing. We can advise them if they contact us and say, oh, we would like to procure a thing, then we can
Yes.
guide them to the correct arrangement, but we very much leave it to them in terms of them engaging and therefore doing business with you after that. We have so many buyers and so many suppliers and so many arrangements. We can't get involved on a day-to-day basis with those individual transactions. Would you agree, Seb?
Yeah, exactly. So each council operates slightly differently anyway. So and depending on the type of work or project um, that the council's looking to get complete, they may do it in a slightly different way depending on which council um, is purchasing. So not one size fits every single council. So there could be a different way of doing it, but our arrangements are created in a way that they cover a wide range of services within a certain field.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take this one. Someone has talked about that many requests for quote ask for the same level of information in their response documents as if it were a full and open tender. Now, we hear this from suppliers on a regular basis. When I say we, the royal we, the local buy engagement team and the category managers are out talking to council officers all the time about the fact that a request for quote is a way more simple process than a full and open tender, and that the compliance documentation that the suppliers have provided is all sitting there on vendor panel ready to roll, and you don't need as a supplier to keep providing that same information. However, it is an ongoing task of education for us as an organisation, as you can understand. We have just here in Queensland, there are 40,000 local government employees. Now, not every single one is out procuring things, but quite a lot of them can. So for us, it's ongoing education of councils to educate them that they don't need to be asking for as much information because you are already a pre-qualified supplier. A few more questions here. Let's have a little look.
I've got a little bit of info about the commercial cleaning.
Okay, let me just have a quick look. So there was a question here about commercial cleaning, which includes graffiti removal. Seb, are you able to answer that question?
So pressure cleaning, graffiti removal, and sort of all outdoor cleaning services are covered under LB 304, public facilities, parks and amenities. That service, it is more aimed at the outdoor cleaning. It's not a commercial cleaning that would be an internal office style cleaning service. It is more about public amenities, so servicing toilets and cleaning any outdoor spaces and graffiti removal. So it's not for commercial indoor cleaning, but outdoor cleaning is covered. So again, you need to talk to the various councils that you're wanting to work with and try and network to find out the right person that looks after that maintenance service.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And sorry, Seb, can you please reiterate which arrangement was that again?
LB 304, public
Okay.
facilities, parks and amenities.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We have had a question here, which I'm going to take to answer, is about the local buy contract management fees. So we're more than open and honest about the local buy contract management fees. Across our 52 pre-qualified supplier arrangement, those fees generally, as an average, it's 1% that suppliers pay to local buy when they have generated revenue through a local buy pre-qualified supplier arrangement. We are very open and honest with councils about that. We do not charge council any fees to utilise local buy at all. Those costs are borne by the supplier. Council are aware of the fees for each individual arrangement, and compared to the cost of doing business consistently through full and open tenders, they are happy to be having those fees included the response from the local buy supplier. On average, to run a full and open tender can cost a council up to $20,000 to run that entire process. So, and it's also a really long process. At least 21 days the tenders have to be open. So our customers, our buyers are aware that there are fees which are often built into our supplier responses to cover the contract management fees. I hope that helps answer that particular question.
So we've just got one more question that's come in relating to if existing providers need to reapply for local buy arrangements if they're already an existing supplier. So if you're already existing and the arrangement is current and is not expiring, you don't have to reapply. If the arrangement is expiring and we create a new arrangement with a new LB number, similar to what we talked about with asset management, you would have to apply for that new arrangement. But once you're qualified on an arrangement, you don't need to tender for that arrangement again, unless you want to change the categories that you're listed under on that arrangement. So there may be multiple categories within that arrangement that you can apply for. And if the first time you get 3 of those categories approved, and then in 3 months' time you think that the 4th category might be worthwhile, you can tender again and go for the 4th.
Yep. That's excellent. Thank you, Seb. And if you want to respond to another pre-qualified supplier arrangement, you would also need to retender under that other arrangement. But if you are satisfied with the categories that you're on a particular arrangement, then you definitely do not need to be resubmitting your tenders every single quarter. That's just for new suppliers to come on board. We do have another question. Okay, Linda has asked a question about, is there somewhere on vendor panel to get in contact with a particular council to promote themselves? We cannot provide you contact details of individual council officers for data protection purposes. Read those council minutes. That's my biggest hint to you. There's lots of great information on them. However, we do have on our supplier information page, which is on our website. We will send you the link when we send the resources out for this webinar, a list of all of the local buy clients who are utilising local buy, but their generic email addresses. So another hint or tip I could do is utilise LinkedIn. Lots and lots of people utilise LinkedIn, and you may be able to do some stalking to track down the people that you want to be talking to in each individual council.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other question, there is another question here about local buy providing market information to suppliers who are part of the local buy agreement. Now, I'm not quite sure what market information you require. This webinar did cover really high level spend that goes through each arrangement, the number of users of each particular arrangement, and the spread of where they have come from, whether they're Queensland councils or Northern Territory councils or other entities that use local buy to procure. But if you would like some further information, Linda, don't hesitate to reach out to us offline and we can see what we can do to help. Now, oh, no, there's another question. I was going to start wrapping up. What happens to the monthly reporting if the supplier is still engaged by a purchaser when the arrangement expires? Seb, I'm happy to answer that question, but if you would like to answer it, you can go for it.
My understanding is that you'd have to keep reporting.
Yes. 100%. So when we close an arrangement in terms of that arrangement has expired, if you have an existing purchase order already, you can continue to report under that. So great example of which is our old roads and civil arrangement was called BUS 270. It was very dear to our heart. We had run out of extension options and we went back to market and formed a new arrangement, which is called LB 313. But there are still lots of ongoing projects because they're big civil projects being reported under BUS 270 until those projects have finished. So the reporting will still be open if you are being engaged under the old arrangement number. We will, of course, train the councils not to use that old number once the arrangement has expired and that they will need to engage in the future using the new arrangement number. As Sebastian said throughout the webinar, lots of our arrangements can be up to 9 years in length. So it's not that often arrangement completely expires and we have to go back to market. But unfortunately, they cannot be infinitely long in terms of length. So occasionally that will happen. Now, I think we may have run out of questions here. I have had a look on LinkedIn and only one person has sent me a request. Maybe they were listening so intently here. But if you do have any further questions or queries, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are more than happy to help. We do have a monthly supplier induction session, highly recommended if you are new and have become involved in local buy for your organisation and you're not across everything that you need to do or the benefits of being a local buy supplier, then that is taking place once a month. It's called the Local Buy Supplier Induction Session. It's an online forum. There is also a face-to-face version that's held in our Brisbane head office as well. So, unless there are any other questions, thank you very much for joining Sebastian and I today. I've had fun. Please don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything else we can do to assist.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.
Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Thursday, everybody. And, oh, we've got lots of clapping going on, Seb. I think we may have done an okay job. Thank you again for joining us. If you have any queries, please reach out. Have a fabulous day. Thank you very much for coming along.
Thank you. See ya.